But all the way from Barcelona, we have Jessica Brightonfeld joining us. What got you here, my friend?
So if you can imagine that I was the tallest always in Canada.
Yeah.
And of course I played basketball. And then I was playing basketball and I used to fall a lot because I think I grew too fast. I broke a little bone in my back, and that little bone caused a lot of pain. For such a huge, tall girl, a tiny little bone.
Yeah.
And just years and years and years and years of back pain. And I just ignored it. And the medical people in the West, called doctors, they said, you can't fix it. So I thought I have to, because I want to have babies and I want to have a family. And with this back pain, I can't. I couldn't have that. So when I was 26, I took a backpack and I went to Costa Rica, and then I went to India and Thailand and Cambodia and Brazil, and I lived in Egypt, and I tried to figure out how to fix my back pain. And through that, I became a therapist, an improv teacher, a hospital clown, and now a single girl living in Berlin.
Cool. So does Berlin still take your breath away?
Oh my God. Berlin didn't take anyone's breath away.
I'm referring to the song from the 80s.
What was that song?
Well, Berlin, take your breath away.
I'm very young, Dune. I've never heard that song before.
You travel too much to listen to that kind of music. But so wonderful. So world traveler, and tell us a little bit about, we're going to go to the present time, and then we're going to kind of trace our way back and hear various stories of your world travel and all the things that you are up to there. But present day, what are you up to, my friend? COVID affects all of us worldwide. I assume it's no different in Berlin there. Tell us what are you up to?
Berlin gave me a lot of opportunities, actually. I was able to go back to Canada and spend time just building my practice as a therapist, and just went online and met hundreds of amazing facilitators around the world with Toastmasters and the Applied Improv Network. And then I went back to Barcelona for summer and enjoyed the beach and my boyfriend. And then I knew it was time to move. And because I teach online, I was able to move without losing my salary.
Cool.
So I'm able to be in Berlin, in beautiful, breathtaking, cold Berlin instead of beautiful Barcelona. I'm still not sure I made a good decision. And I'm here, and I'm just trying to build something new here, something that I really love.
Yeah, well, it can't be any colder than Canada, hey?
Berlin? It can't be colder than Canada. It's true. So I guess I'm doing well if I think like that.
There you go. So tell us, how long were you in Canada altogether? How much Canadian experience do you have?
How much bacon's in my blood, huh? Well, my mom was the bravest human ever. Not really. She left Germany, but she was 8 months pregnant. Can you imagine? 8 months pregnant. She flew with Lufthansa to Canada, and 6 months later, I was born. And I stayed in Canada till I graduated university, and then I got the hell out of that country because it's cold.
It's cold.
I moved to Egypt, one of the hottest places you can move to, and I lived for a year when I was 24.
Wow. So tell us, Egypt. What are things that you learned in Egypt that people may not imagine? You know, we have certain picture of other faraway places, and I have never been to Egypt. So as somebody who's been to Egypt, enlighten us.
I shall enlighten you. Come into my pyramid. In Egypt, people go shopping at 12 o'clock at night. Like they gather the whole family and they go shoe shopping. Because until like 8 o'clock at night, it's too hot to even think about leaving your house. And you know the expression, eat like there's no tomorrow?
Yeah.
Which is like a religion for me.
Yeah.
In Egypt, we went to a couple weddings because all my friends were Egyptians. And we literally brought a fork to the buffet table to start eating in the line because we knew we had to make space on our plate because like little old ladies were like shoving me out of the way, and I'm like, I'm gonna box you out, woman. And we had to take 3 plates of food because if we would have waited until dessert time, there would have been no dessert. They love food. They love to laugh. They're very, very funny. generous, hospital.
Yeah, hospitable.
Hospitable. Yeah, I cried every day because of the poverty and the culture shock and my white privilege staring me in the face all the time. But I learned a lot about what real life is about.
Well, what brought you to Egypt? Like what would a Canadian, other than, okay, it was warmer there. It's warmer there. What brought you to Egypt?
Now imagine a 24-year-old girl in Japan and she sees this big, muscular Egyptian doctor. And he says to her, well, I've never even kissed a girl. I've never held hands with a girl. And I go, what? Men like this exist? And I was fascinated that there's a culture or a religion where the majority of people in society actually stick to what they believe and have their values. If I agree with them or not is not the point, but I fell in love with this man and his values and his humor and his beautiful body. And I moved to Egypt to be with my Egyptian prince. And it turned out really well.
For a while.
Like 2 weeks. And then.
Yeah. So Egypt, how long were you there? And, what are some things that are similar in Egypt versus Canada? Yeah, are there things that are similar? Can you name 3 things that are really the same?
Okay, I'm an improviser, so I'm going to try. Fatty food, funny people, and lots of shopping because we have nothing better to do.
There you go. So there you go. We're not all that different after all. Now, you mentioned funny people. You're one of those funny people. I've seen your videos. If people look her up online, look up Jessica Brighton Feld online, you will see, even on LinkedIn, the so-called professional network where people are expected to be somewhat buttoned down and somewhat serious. You're not serious even on LinkedIn. You bring a lot of light and laughter and levity to that as well.
You know what? My last name is Bright. And I've always been trying to think of how can I brand my name, right? And so now I've decided I'm branding myself as the lightness and the light bringer. And I thought, who says you can't wear a bikini in a video on LinkedIn? Everybody. But I did it anyway because I think my message is don't take yourself so seriously. If people don't want to work with me because I'm a little bit silly, then they're probably too German. and they're not going to like me in real life anyway. So it's good that they run away fast early and then,
You're pre-qualifying people. You're pre-qualifying your clients and pre-qualifying your friends and may I say, pre-qualifying your prince as well. If I refer back to that Egyptian encounter.
Tinder, LinkedIn, the lines are blurry now. I'm just using whatever I can as a 37-year-old woman.
Yeah. So how often do you make these videos? I see these videos on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and they're fun little sort of clips that are barely a minute or something like that, maybe a bit longer. But you, in your psychoanalysis kind of background and studies and education and that practice that you have, weave in really essentially a humorous look at life's sort of silliness or life's whatever, and you kind of raise awareness through humor.
Wow, thank you for saying it like that, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do, and for you to be able to see it and articulate it so well means that I'm doing a good editing job.
There you go. And so tell us, when did you start with that journey, and how often do you do those videos? I'm curious. And are you committed to go a bit longer? Or are you at the tail end of that, or what's your plan?
My career is just starting, Dune. When I was a kid, I wanted to be Goofy and Steve Urkel. So a combination of those two was my dream job. Plus, I wanted to be a garbage man because I thought they don't have to wear seatbelts. They get to just have their hair flying. So I realized as an ENTP, as Myers-Briggs, I'm like, I just like to laugh and have fun. And these videos keep me up every night till 2 a.m. And I just have so much fun giggling myself. I don't know. It's a hobby. I don't make any money with it.
Well, YouTube didn't make any money either until they got to a certain point. Facebook didn't make any money either until they got to a certain point, you know?
Stress Hustle Jess didn't make any money until she got to a certain point.
Uh-huh. You know, you think of Brendan Bouchard. Do you think he made a lot of money in his early days?
Huh.
Do you think Tony Robbins made a lot of money in his early days?
Huh. You know, you never think of that. You're right. Thank you. Brene Brown's kind of my inspiration.
Oh, yeah, love her.
Vulnerability.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm vulnerability with humor. I know she's funny too. But
Yeah.
maybe when I'm 50. I hope she's not watching and she's not 50. When I'm 50, I would like to be like Brene Brown and inspire people to be kinder to themselves and give themselves a break for when they make mistakes.
Yeah. No, fun is, you know, I always tell people, I do a lot of university teaching and corporate training and leadership development. And I always tell people, you know, bring their whole self to work. You know, and obviously there's a point where you have to temper it a little bit, but most people err on the other side. Most people don't bring enough of themselves into work. And they wonder why work isn't as enjoyable, as productive, as strategic, as, you know, whatever. Because I would see them at home or in their community being a certain kind of very clear thinking, very autonomous, very, you know, what's the word I'm going to say? Maybe proactive. And then maybe at the office, they just have this other self there, right? So if we can bring more of ourselves everywhere we go, I think we'll be better.
Yeah, just take the mask off a little bit more, right?
Yeah. But not during COVID. So tell us, okay, so you're in Canada for a number of years, kind of up to kind of adulthood and university and whatever have you. As you travel all these different countries, I would love to hear a little about each country that you've been to, and what are some key lessons that you learned from there, or key stories that you know, gathered or experienced that you like to share. You know, kind of enrich us with this international travel.
Wow, what a lovely question. Thank you for reminding me how old I am and how many places I've been to. I lived in Brazil. In a place where John of God was, which is quite interesting. It was a big scandal in the end, but this was a guy that healed millions of people, over the 70 years that he was working voluntarily. And I lived there and I learned so much about compassion and forgiveness and how we heal ourselves. And whatever he was doing, whatever he wasn't doing, we learned to forgive what happened in the past. And then when you forgive, you cleanse that like energy out of your system. And I learned it when I was when I was 26. And I really feel grateful that really fixed my relationship with my parents, with my friends. And it was like life insurance because, you know, if you go around the world with a lot of issues and triggers and angers and not forgiving people, it's a pretty rough day, because there's a lot of annoying people in the world. So I really feel grateful that I had that at one of the beginning parts of my life. Yeah.
So that's Brazil. That's one of the many countries. We got many more to go, my friend. Keep on going.
That was the most influential one, probably. Egypt was, because I realized that my religion wasn't the right one, and theirs maybe isn't the right one, and the 100 other religions out there might not be the right one, and they might be. And it just opened my eyes to, you know, these Mohammeds. I have like 10 friends that are called Mohammed, and they are absolutely amazing human beings. And my religion says, no, there's some problems there. And it just opened my world to what's out there. And then I went to Thailand and learned about Buddhism. And that made me think, wow, what about life after death? And then it made me think about, wow, what about India? And then I went to India, and in India I learned that butter chicken is really good. And I got my fortune read, and I got told my whole life's future ahead of me, and who I'll marry, and how many kids I'll have, and when I'll get separated, 38. So based on that, I have to get married and separated in the next year.
Ah, there you go.
I also learned to trust my instinct and not just follow gurus and chase healers around the world. I learned a lot about, I am me, and I'm pretty great, and I'm pretty bad, and I gotta fight my own battles and grow up.
You learn the humanity of our frailty and our uncertain future.
Wow, much better than I can say. Yes.
I'm just listening. Not going back.
You're a good listener, because the frailty of being. I have a theory. It's very LinkedIn.
Oh, is it? Okay. Let me feature you, because LinkedIn is an important thing. So here we go. In full screen, tell us something that relates to LinkedIn.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are actually like an 80-20 human being. 80% of you is beautiful and curious and well-intentioned. But then there's that smelly, lazy, procrastinating, jealous of really cute girls side. And that side is your 20% dark side. And so you do have the 80, it's shining and beautiful, and you do have the 20. And you are a yin-yang 80-20 human. And you have to accept that you have both. And once you accept that you have both, when you mess up and you yell at someone because they went on the bike path and you were speeding by in Germany, or when you accidentally didn't pay for the metro ticket and got a ticket, you remember that, okay, I'm not perfect and nobody's asking me to be, except for religion and media. Then you remember, it's okay to be flawed, and it's okay to love someone who's flawed, and it's okay to go to therapy, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to be you. And Buddha says it's like 50-50. But
it's also okay to have challenge with what appears to be, was that a tube or what? A pink tube?
This is this is my most viewed video in the last month. It's pretty cute. I didn't know that my boobs are getting in the way, and it's really material.
Were you by the pool? Do you have a pool in your place or what?
No, I was at my friend's house, and I thought, if I managed to get the tube below my boobs, it would be pretty damn funny trying to get it off again. And I was super sweaty, and only when I wiped the sweat off did the water drip down my chest, and I was relieved of my extra tire.
That's funny.
That's a cute one.
Now, so let's go to another country. We've been to Egypt. We've been to Brazil, right? India, you said. Some other countries.
Yeah, those are the big ones. Well, I lived in France when I was 16.
Tell us about France. Is it as romantic as they say? Is it as the movies have depicted?
Oh la 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 la! It is. It is. The French are just so. They're so cool. And we have the same thing in Quebec, because we have the Quebec French, and they're still smoking like it's the 1980s, and no one told them it's bad for you. They all wear their scarves like they're still in 1920s France. And they eat their cheese, and they just live their life a little bit more than the Protestant North American British people that live in Toronto, and we're so jealous of them. Have fun. So.
Yeah. So that was France. Any other country to touch on before we move on from that topic?
I was in Costa Rica when I was 25, in Mexico a little bit in that time, and did some volunteering. Oh yeah, this was a big one. So I grew up in the church, and I was told, save the Africans, be a missionary, every thought you have is a sin. So of course, I grew up with a lot of guilt. And so I go on my first missionary trip to Costa Rica. And then I end up in Guatemala. And on my first day as a volunteer missionary, we walk up this hill. It's like super hot, there's mosquitoes. It takes an hour to walk up this hill with my new preacher, pastor, missionary boss. And we get to the top, and this tiny little poverty-stricken hut is a mother, a grandmother, and two little girls crying. And I enter into the room, and they start speaking in Spanish, and I understood a little bit. And my first job as a Christian volunteer was go to the dead guy in the bed and make sure he's dead. I'm like, I don't even know how they do that? What do you do? So I go and everyone's looking at me. They're all crying, and I lift up the blanket and I see a very dead man, and I can't check the pulse because I don't want to be the ones to tell them that their father, the breadwinner of the family, is dead. And so I don't. And to compensate for that, I bought the coffin because they couldn't afford a coffin. And that was day one of being a good Christian. And that had a huge impact on my worldview and my who do I owe things to? What is my responsibility in the world? And that started me on a whole big journey to free my guilt.
Yeah, cool. So I don't know which country this was, and it was a country that apparently didn't have what we have here in Canada. I don't know which country this might be, but you can tell me.
Oh, well, look at that. That was my vegan phase.
Vegan phase.
I ate my own shirt because...
Now, you mentioned before you have your forks nearby, but now you have like, lettuce nearby as well.
Yeah, that was during COVID times. I was just exploring with videos, and I thought it would be funny if I popped out of a rhubarb bush with my niece videoing. Actually, my videographer is my 8-year-old niece, and I'd be like, "Get your finger off of the camera! Stop shaking! No more laughing!"
Yeah. So this is in Berlin then, if I'm tracking.
No, I spent quarantine in Canada. I got out of Barcelona the week quarantine hit, and I made it to Canada in time and quarantined there, and then was quite free because Canada has a lot of green, as you can see.
So Toronto area?
It's north of Toronto. It gets greener and greener and greener and colder and more boring, and that's where I was born.
See, you. Now this is the second time you said you were north of something. First time it was north of Barcelona. Now it's north of Toronto. Yeah. You're always north of something, huh?
I don't know if I go more north. Oh my God.
So tell on a kind of work side, you do some pretty serious work. So tell us about your work, my friend. This little. I guess it's a bit of a poster, tell us about the work that you do.
A couple of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, someone introduced me to the Applied Improvisation Network. And that's all about using improvisation skills, adaptability, intelligence, agility, resilience, whatever you want to call the ability to think quickly and confidently. And so I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I've spent 4 years training myself in this field, and training was a lot of fun because essentially it's how to be an improviser and how to be confident and think quick and be bold and go towards the action and make your team look good. And so now I'm a certified applied improvisation. We call ourselves practitioners, which is a funny word, and I guess I've been traveling a lot with Toastmasters. Last year, we went to a lot of Toastmasters conferences. Dune. We love our Toastmasters. And I gave tons of workshops on this adaptability intelligence. It's one of Daniel Goleman's 12 emotional intelligences. Yeah. So one of the most important, I think, is adaptability. And so I train, and a lot of my colleagues, we train people to listen, accept, and build. And so that's the skill of adaptability intelligence, is really being there, not denying it, not repressing the reality, and then, yes, ending towards the solution for collaboration.
You bet. And if we simplify it a little bit, that's what the awesome impromptu kind of performers do, right? That they listen, they really listen, and they just accept that that's what it was, that was said, and then they build on it, right? Which is a critical skill for life and collaboration. And I am so much bought into that I'm a real jammer myself, whether it comes to music, whether it comes to facilitation or teaching. When I do corporate training and when I do university teaching, and when I do leadership development or playing music or presenting. The whole jamming, really going with the flow. Yes, you have a plan. Yes, you prepare. But the moment you engage in that performance, you got to be in the moment. You got to be in the moment.
Now, do you think, Dune, with all of your background in training, when you're training, you got to be there with the people. When you're playing, you're there with the notes. When you're improvising, you're there with your team.
Yeah.
Do you find that these are all types of meditation, or are they just concentrations, or how do you see that? There's a debate about that.
Yeah, I see it as I just keep it simple, and I say I live in the moment. And long time ago, I realized that's one of my really important strengths. I'm a living in the moment kind of guy. Literally, when I'm playing music, I don't think about other things. For example, I don't think about my work. I don't think about my family. I'm just in the music. When I'm doing training, corporate training, I am with those people. When I'm at home with my family, I don't think about other stuff. So I'm able to just go with the moment, live in the moment, and that's one of my strengths. And part of that allows me to really just be an improviser.
Well, you're very brave, because I've been on quite a few podcasts in the last couple of months, because in Corona time, everybody was doing this stuff. And you do it live. And that's just a testament to improvising skills, because you can't edit out anything. And so I think you're really proving your professional presence.
Thank you.